Ladies and gentlemen, in today's world where over a third of the population struggle to meet their most basic daily needs, microcredit appears to be a tool to generate income and create jobs for those least favored. Apparently such a successful tool that Mohammed Yunus, one of the pioneers of the microcredit concept and the founder of the Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, now announces the possibility of a world without poverty. When one considers the relative inefficiency of policies applied since the Second World War, in contrast to the spectacular impact which microcredit has had to combat poverty, one can understand why microcredit has become an event of the moment. Almost 20 years after the first microbanks started, the subject is finally being discussed at the intergovernmental level at the United Nations. In early 1997, various non-governmental organizations organized the Microcredit Summit in Washington, D.C., an event which has attracted the participation of various heads of state, the First Lady of the United States of America, as well as the support of numerous international organizations and actors from the private sector. This event contributed greatly to popularizing the theme of microcredit. It was only in December 1997 that the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, convened an intergovernmental meeting, the Commission on Enterprise, Business Facilitation and Development, where the main actors of the microfinance market were invited to participate.
Cette fois, nous nous engageons dans une voie nouvelle. C'est la première fois que nous traitons un sujet où nous pouvons dire que le résultat serait que des ressources iraient directement aux plus pauvres de cette planète.
The principal actors in this market are obviously the microbanks. It is believed that there are over 7,000 microbanks in the developing world. This very dynamic sector, estimated to grow at 30 to 100% a year, was represented at the Commission by 4 well-known microbankers from different continents. Pancho Otero, founder of Banco Sol in Bolivia, the best-known and most successful microbank in Latin America, with a portfolio of over 60,000 clients.
Several million people now are being serviced throughout the world with small loans that do not require traditional collateral.
Kimanti Mutua, director of KREP, one of Kenya's most successful microbanks.
Perhaps the most important reason is really to demonstrate that microfinance is not just a poverty, is not just an auxiliary development activity, but as an integral part of the financial system of any country. And we seriously think that if a country has 90% of its population that has no access to or support from the financial systems in the country, then there is something seriously wrong in that country. And I think this is what we're trying to demonstrate, that this is a commercially viable activity. It's an activity that can address the poverty issue, but at the same time can be run on a commercial basis.
Joaquin Henson, Managing Director of Kalnalaran Agriculture Corporation of the Philippines, a small but a very dynamic and innovative institution.
Our experience proves that solving the poverty problem can be profitable.
Also, Michael Chu, Chairman of Acción Internacional, a major network of microbanks in Latin America.
I represent Acción, which is a non-profit based in Boston, which since its first microloan in Recife in Brazil in 1973 has focused 100% on microfinance. And it operates through a network of 18 institutions in 13 Latin American countries and 6 cities in the US. And in 1996 disbursed just under $400 million of loans, average size just under $600, to 276,000 active clients.
The message conveyed by all these practitioners of the microfinance sector was the same. Microcredit is a successful tool to create work and generate employment for the poor. Microcredit is a commercial activity operating under market laws. And microfinance is becoming one more branch of finance.
These people who had started borrowing maybe $100 or $200 10 years ago are not requiring $5, $10, $20, $30,000, and who were working all by themselves in a very amateurish way are now having maybe 20 or 25 employees, and that they're all sharing in this prosperity.
We feel that as a microfinance institution, we have the capability and we have the opportunity to be able to bring people living below the poverty line beyond it.
This is important not because it is the most needy thing of the poor, because the poor need everything. They need housing, they need education, they need health care. But microfinance happens at the direct link with economic activity. So what it produces is the creation of wealth based on the self-initiative in the most fragile sectors of society.
If the money is subsidized, it will find its way to the hands of the rich. However, if the rates are real and they are not subsidized, the poor will access this money. This particular paradox is very difficult to really follow, and one has to see it in reality and has to think with another mentality in order to really understand it. But the history of subsidized money has been that it has ended up in the hands of the power groups.
If we look forward, if we think in terms of the next 5 or 10 years, if these institutions that have achieved scale, economic viability, and a true link with capital markets are successful, and if many more of them arise, then I think microfinance will become one more segment of finance, but with a huge difference, that it is aimed at the poor of the world, which had no access until very recently.
We believe we must become part of the financial system in Kenya and access those fundings that are available to financial institutions so that we can channel them to the poor.
The counterpart of the microbanks in the new microfinance market, the investors, were represented by two prestigious institutions during the commission. The BIL, which is the International Bank of Luxembourg, and AXA Asset Management, which is a part of the French insurance group AXA.
Aujourd'hui, nous gérons pour compte de tiers 45 milliards de dollars en équivalent, bien sûr. Cela représente grosso modo 500 fonds. Cela représente grosso modo une centaine de promoteurs différents. La nature du projet pour la banque, comme nous l'avons indiqué, est donc de jouer un rôle mécanique, d'assurer, si vous voulez, la courroie de transmission entre, d'une part, une démonstration qui a été faite des besoins en matière de refinancement de ces microbanques, et d'autre part, de la part d'une communauté d'investisseurs qui s'intéresse et qui est toujours à l'affût d'une classe d'actifs qui peut présenter un rapport rendement-risque intéressant.
And AXA Asset Management is a world leader in asset management with more than $500 billion of funds under Euro management. That's 1.5 times the Belgian BNP, so I'm very impressed.
Il est apparu que les microbanques pouvaient constituer des titres d'investissement à part entière, mais à certaines conditions. D'abord, il faut définir un niveau de rendement attractif pour l'investisseur. Il faut limiter les risques d'investissement et c'est un point très important, instaurer un circuit d'investissement stable et sûr.
The BIL and AXA, together with UNCTAD, undertook detailed financial analysis of a number of microbanks and then visited them on site. The conclusion drawn was that microbanks represent a new and an attractive opportunity for international investors.
Avec des personnes de la CNUSED et de la BIL, nous sommes allés dans 3 pays d'Amérique latine, la Bolivie, l'Équateur et la Colombie, pour nous rendre compte de ce que pouvait être une microbanque et dans l'environnement dans lequel pouvait évoluer une microbanque. Donc nous avons vu un peu plus d'une trentaine d'institutions très diverses. C'est un univers très riche et nous avons été très agréablement, j'allais dire, oui, surpris de la qualité en moyenne des institutions que nous avons pu rencontrer. Qualité de par d'abord leur professionnalisme.